Hey everybody, it's Nick from Android Headlines, and this is our review of the Samsung Galaxy S8 and the S8 Plus just a month in. For the last month, we've had the pleasure of spending time with Samsung's latest flagship phones. The unveiling in late March proved pretty clear that Samsung is out to woo any naysayers of their device, and what Samsung gave us certainly didn't fail to impress. But how has this new design held up since then? Let's take a look at what really stands out in these phones. Screen quality, device design, and software prowess. It's this last point that might be so surprising coming from some previous generations of Samsung products, and because of it, it's certainly difficult to choose what the single best part of these phones actually is. Let's start with that new build though. Sporting a 5.8-inch display on the standard-sized Galaxy S8 and a 6.2-inch display on the S8 Plus, you may think these are hulking behemoths if going on specs alone. What might come as a surprise is just how small these phones feel relative to their screen size, as Samsung hasn't just taken the old 16:9 aspect ratios and thrown them on a phone. Rather, we're seeing an aspect ratio that's custom tailored to fit Samsung's now famous dual curved edge design. This new taller aspect ratio takes up over 80% of the front of the phone and wraps all the way around both edges to the sides, creating what Samsung is marketing as an infinity display. While it sounds like a cool name, the results are, well, even cooler. We've seen the dual curves on both the Galaxy S7 Edge and Note 7 last year, but having the screen pull almost to the top and bottom of the phone as well makes it more immersive than it might initially sound. Not only that, but it means Samsung can slap a much larger display size on the same size body, all while shrinking the phone's width. This makes for a far more comfortable phone, as it doesn't require as much thumb stretching and hand acrobatics just to click stuff. That larger S8 Plus will certainly require some hand shifting at times, but most folks should feel pretty comfortable with either model. As with last year, the entirety of the phone is glass with a metal trim, and it's incredibly solid to boot. Holding it is simply a joy, and it's quite possibly the single most beautiful looking phone ever made. It really is stunning to behold. There's definitely some similarities to the Note 7, but the front of it is wholly unique. Comparing it to some other flagships out there shows just how well this one is designed. At 6.2 inches, the Galaxy S8 nearly matches the height of the Google Pixel XL, a phone with a 5.5-inch screen, and it comes out thinner. Check out our comparison video for more size differences. Samsung's display is a thing of beauty and really pulls you in with every little detail. Pushing a higher screen resolution panel than we've seen yet on a flagship screen, the software here scales the resolution to help save battery life, and in fact comes out of the box as full HD plus resolution rather than the quad HD plus the panel can actually scale to. Even so, I couldn't see any pixels on the display, and everything from the inky blacks, accurate colors, and even outdoor visibility is nigh perfect. While the display only supports HDR10, unlike the LG G6 which supports HDR10 and Dolby Vision, it's absolutely the best looking display we've ever seen on a smartphone, hands down. That being said, HDR content in the mobile space is still pretty hard to come by, with even Amazon's Prime Video app not showing support for the S8 quite yet. We'll likely see more content in the future, but for now it's pretty scant. Always On Display has made a reappearance too, with more functionality than ever, and it's looking better than ever too thanks to Samsung's rather interesting new Infinity wallpapers. What might be really surprising though is the synergy Samsung has going between hardware and software on this phone. Over the years, we've seen Samsung push toward curved edge displays, and in fact every edge display feature we've seen in the past is here and then some. When comparing to phones that have a dual display above the main one, the edge display is simply more comfortable and easier to use, requiring little to no hand acrobatics and providing far more information as well. These features don't really require the curved edge, but they certainly are easier to swipe inward because of it. There's tons of other little details to admire here too, from the excellent sound design of the clicks and ringtones, to the animations that appear when unlocking the phone, swiping between apps, and even multitasking. Samsung has put loads of care into the product design here. It's by far the most thoughtful and well-designed Android skin we've seen from Samsung, and quite possibly the best Android skin ever made. Samsung really thought of everything here, from the quick links to switch Bluetooth inputs and the notification shade. Oh, by the way, the Galaxy S8 can actually output to 2 devices at the same time through its new Bluetooth 5.0 tech. There's also gaming tools for recording mobile gaming sessions, helpful battery saving features, and automatic sleeping of apps, a gratuitous number of themes for pretty much everything on the phone, and every other little thing you could think of. Software buttons are finally a thing too, something we really haven't seen from Samsung on a major phone before. This is a huge step in the right direction, and it means more customization. finally allowing users to put the back button in the right place. The new aspect ratio ensures that these buttons won't encroach upon that 16:9 content between it and the status bar up top, and full screen apps can take up the entirety of the panel when requested. As we saw on the LG G6, apps will scale automatically when it makes sense, but if there's too much cropping on 16:9 apps, or if the app just doesn't work right in full screen mode, it's easy enough to change the zoom levels right in the multitasking tray. What's cool is that the home button can stay lit up all the time thanks to the always-on screen technology, and can be used to unlock the phone with a double tap or hard press. Samsung promises there won't be any burn-in from this button, so we'll have to see if that holds to be true. This long press will activate the iris scanner if configured, or any other method of security you've added to the phone. Yes, the fingerprint sensor has been moved to the back, and although it feels a little awkward at first, it really just felt like second nature after a day or two. Only once did I smudge up the lens of the camera enough to where the camera software asked me to clean it, and in general it seems the concerns with this placement are likely overplayed from most folks. The camera here can be a little bit of a mixed bag at times, but for the most part it borders on greatness in most situations. As with last year, Samsung has packed in dual pixel focusing technology, meaning lightning fast focus in milliseconds, not seconds. There's also really great tracking autofocus that lets you track a subject automatically with a single click, which is handy for those moments when things are moving around. The rest of the software package is equally brilliant here too, offering oodles of options, useful shooting modes, and plenty of additional ones to download too. Samsung has added in tons of new filters, stickers, and even masks, mimicking what everyone's favorite social media networks are doing with the phone's native software. The software is a little slow when compared to last year's Galaxy S7 though, and sometimes it took an upwards of 5 seconds to launch, whereas last year we were looking at pretty near instant launching. Unfortunately too is the picture quality during the day, and Samsung seems to have completely forgotten about the strides in image processing it made with the Note 7, and quite honestly it feels like we're back to square one once again when it comes to bad image processing. The Galaxy S8's image processing during daylight can be pretty bad if you're viewing the picture on anything larger than a phone. Zooming in reveals a processing method that kills tons of detail in the scene, making things look blurry and almost out of focus at times. It's not a matter of megapixels here. Phones like the Google Pixel and the LG G6 take far better pictures in the daytime and offer far more detail, even though they're the same or close to the same sensor size. RAW mode really isn't an option either, as the raw images really do look rather rough since there's zero processing attached to them. Some kind of happy medium here would really be appreciated. The odd thing here is that the tides actually reverse in lower light, where the Galaxy S8 becomes the clear winner when it comes to any kind of low light photography. The processing improves considerably, and not only that, but the lightning fast and accurate focus means you're getting a better, more even focus every time. Couple this with the huge sensor Samsung has here, and you've got the best low light shots you're going to find anywhere, period. Couple this with a great front-facing camera that's an improvement over last year's lower resolution shooter in every way, and you have a winner in most cases. Folks that take more pictures during the day or want a wide-angle lens may want to look elsewhere though, and quite frankly that's a little disappointing. Oh, and of course, how could we forget Bixby? Samsung's new AI assistant was much hyped up at the device's unveiling, but it seems like Samsung might have forgotten its launch timetable for the phone. Needless to say, many of the big functions of Bixby are missing. We've got the Hello Bixby screen that's called up via the dedicated button on the side, which essentially replaces Samsung's Flipboard newsfeed, and attempts to also replicate some of Google Now's functionality. Samsung also included Bixby Vision, a way to visually search for objects in real life instead of having to type in a box or ask the assistant. Visual search is actually pretty cool, identifying regular objects and allowing image searches and even shopping results based on what is found. Most of the time it identified objects pretty generically instead of something specific like an Air Jordan shoe or a Nintendo Switch, but it's a really great start. Samsung promises the full launch of Bixby, including the voice-guided assistant and all the other functions we were looking for later this spring. For now though, it's one of the only disappointments in a phone that's littered with more positive points than any other one out there. And of course that leads to the verdict. Should you buy the Galaxy S8? The answer, quite emphatically, is yes. Other than some camera snafus that Samsung may or may not clean up over time, this phone is the winningest phone we've ever used. It's crazy to see anything this good, especially in the age of companies seemingly holding back features just to wait to next year's model, and it's going to be hard for Samsung to top this one next year to say the least. Pick this one up now. You will not be sorry. We hope you enjoyed that review and will subscribe to us for more regularly updated content. Be sure to check us out on your favorite social media network, and don't forget to check out AndroidHeadlines.com for 24/7 Android-based news coverage. Thanks for watching, and until next time.